So thank you for watching this video. I wanted to talk about letting go and the pain of a friend, um, and this is dealing with um, going through it myself and understanding it, okay? Um, when I went through the situations that I went through, the first thing I wanted to do was to cling, get help, and surround myself around friends. And I found out that the people that I was surrounding myself around uh, didn't want to hear what I had to say, or didn't have my intentions, my the intentions, good intentions for me or my success. And it was just to a point where God was separating me from other people. Like, I didn't know this at the time. It was just like I would get into fights with people. I would be like so angry. I would be so just out of it. And it made me so sad. Sorry, excuse me. It made me so sad. Why am I getting yarny all of a sudden? I don't know. But it made me so sad. It made me so upset and hurt and bitter. Um, and I felt like I was so all alone. But during that time, I don't know why they playing this music higher and higher now. So excuse that. During the whole time, like I felt like I was by myself, and I had to go through my troubles like without people. There were people surrounding it and a lot of people causing it, but I had to go through it by myself. I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have a shoulder to lean on. My shoulders that I did have, that I knew that would be there, it was like my grandparents and my grandmother, which she died because she was sick during the time. It was just a lot of heaviness, and that was the time that I needed people the most. Some people that I call was my closest friends. I barely talked to them during this time. But the good thing about it is that I found out the truth, and that true love isolates, and because of that, I ended up experiencing I got a greater gift by being left alone and being let go by other people and being put down by other people. I got to be alone, and I found out what true love is. Um, and because of that, I ended up getting better. Now, when I say I was like by myself, like I said, I didn't have anyone to talk to. I was going through a lot of difficulties, financial, spiritually, every kind of difficulty in one setting I was going through. Like, my mind was it was getting elevated. Like, it was so much tension and so much stress going around me. I had to really calm myself down because it was crazy. Like, I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get it. And it wasn't because I wasn't educated. It wasn't because I had a horrible attitude. It wasn't because, and no matter if someone did me wrong, I still had to accept that I didn't have the necessities that was needed in order to function in life, But like I said, during this time, of isolation, I found the truth. And God really, really like helped me to understand that He binds and He, puts stuff together. And in order to get better, you have to isolate yourself um, from certain things, people, places, and things. True story, okay? This is what I went through. Okay, so think about, like, when people get married, the first thing they do is go on a honeymoon, right? And the reason people they get honeymoon so they can go and, have time together and go, have sex. Well, yeah, that's part of it, but most of it is to consecrate that union, to isolate themselves, to get away from people so they can enjoy each other and strengthen that bond, and strengthen the bond of union, of being one. You can go, it's a lot of people that can go and have sex. Look at the people who are on prom dates and they have sex and they're together. So it's not just about having sex when they get married. It's about the consecration, about getting them unioned as one. Um, it's a lot of other illustrations about that. Think about when um, um, Jesus came and he had 12 disciples, and then he took three of them to the mount. Why did he take three of them to the mount? Because he wanted to take them to a higher level to get them more intense and get the bond closer. Um, so yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I went through a lot of hardships, a lot of pains, a lot of things dealing with lack of, and through that lack of, I ended up finding, like I said, finding myself, finding uh, who I was as a person and what my purpose is for, and that was the greatest experience that um, I could have ever gotten. Yeah, I could have got a job, I could have stayed, and people were like, well, you gave away a job, so you really wasn't, homeless and blah. But it's yes, I was, because I knew that that job was not for me. I knew that something wasn't right if I took that job. Something um, wasn't working in there, and it wasn't just the job. It was something in me that didn't agree with that job, didn't agree with the principles that it was displaying. It wasn't agreeing with the destiny of my life. Um, yeah, so I know I'm getting a little brain fart. It feels like it's really, really crazy, but I had to talk about it because I had this like dream. I don't know why I had this dream. It was like a dream. I was on a mountain, and it made me think about that guy on the mountain in the Bible. He was on the mountain, and he was visited by an angel, and he's like, I'm not gonna let go until you bless me. And the angel was just sitting there like, let go. And he hits the angel hit back, and he's fighting him. And of course an angel is going to be stronger than you. But the angel gets fed up because he's getting hurt. The angel is feeling it because now Jacob is using all his might to go and knock him out. And so the angel, hits him strong enough for him to still be alive, but enough to, but enough for him to see that he will just let go. But through his determination, because he was isolated on the mountain, he saw something greater, and he's like, I'm not letting go until you bless me. Now, when Jacob left, he had that freaking limp, but he had the greatest gift. He was visited. He was visited by an angel, and he got blessed. Now, and that was a pain. That was a hurt that he had to go through. But he understood. That pain from that friend got him stronger because he got his blessing, and that's how I felt, today after having this dream about me being on this mountain. Yeah, I went through all this stuff. I went through all this heartache and pain, and people, backstabbing me, people turning on me, people saying bad things about me. I went through all of that. I went through people who were very trickery, who wanted me to um, get into a lot of bad experiences, a lot of temptation. People are trying to pursue me to do drugs, not just the drug addicts. We're gonna talk about the people who look good and smell good, and according to society, are good. Those kind of people. People who wanted me to give up in my endeavors in pursuing this whole ordeal and the whole thing that I know that God told me to do, and I didn't let go. I didn't let go, and even though I was like clinging, that's how I felt like I was clinging onto, like, sometimes you can fight, and sometimes you have to cling. You gotta know which ones, but I had to learn that. I had to learn that, and I did. I did. There are different times and different seasons, but I know that if I hold on, that blessing will come along. And I got so much during this time of isolation. I got so much. I got so much. I learned so much. Like I said, more than any textbook could ever teach me, more than any person that will get on a pulpit will teach me, more than any lecturer, more than any virtual reality would teach me. I learned this during my times of isolation and going through it myself. And that that in itself was a blessing, because through that I found out who I was. Who I was. I'm no longer, Belle Jerusalem. I'm bigger than that. I'm not just that little kid that was left in a trash can. I'm no longer that kid that was abused and raped and pushed down. I am no longer that person. Because of that isolation, I was able to step into my divine self, into my divine right, into the divine woman that God had called me to be. So, um, yeah, isolation is painful, it's hurtful, but you have to understand how to let them go and let those people go, because you have something definitely greater to go. If God brought you to it, this one thing that this lady that I was really close to and really, I really liked her. She had a really good spirit. Some of her habits were kind of bad, but she had a good spirit and she knew the truth. And she said, if God would take you to it, He'll bring you through it. And I attest to that. And I believe that, because when I was going through it, like I said, I would have visions. Once again, hi. Hey, what does those symbols mean? I really don't know. You send a lot of symbols, and I don't know what they mean. So I don't want to respond to you in the wrong manner, and I want to know. I want to know so I can better respond to you. Um, but these times of hurt and these times of isolation, like I said, it taught me and it brought me to the place that I'm supposed to be in. I used to look at my life when I would get spoken to in dreams and like revelations, and I was like, God, I know this is God talking to me. You can tell the difference once you had enough experience in it, when God is talking to you. But then I would just be like, God, how can I get to this point and you want me to be at this point and I'm just right here. During this time of isolation and during this time of hurt, God showed me that He really will supply. He opened up a lot of doors, like I said, that I couldn't imagine going through. And it took going through a lot of people who weren't right for me. It took a lot. It took me understanding that everybody who say and claim who they are um, might not be who they are. And oh, thank you. I'm sending love back to you. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, it helped me to become aware of what is around me, what surrounds me, that everybody might not be going after the same goal as you are. They might not have the same intentions, even though they're claiming that they are, and what to do, and how to operate, and how to act when it doesn't go in your favor, when things turn out wrong, when you know you've done right. You know, um, this time I had a lot of people doing like really, really bad things to me. Like I said, I couldn't get a job. I couldn't. People would say that I was a sloth. They would say that I was a drug addict, and I never took drugs in my life. Like when I say I never took drugs in my life, I never took drugs in my life. I don't even smoke cigarettes. Why? Because I'm so fearful because of how my mom turned out. Because of one simple thing, in her whole life. It changed it. So I'm always tried to stay away from it. I'm always been like the health nut, but like I said, going through this, it was like looking from it from a different viewpoint and understanding that some people are not meant to be there, and they won't understand you, and they won't understand your cause, and they won't understand how you keep getting back up. Because if when I tell people my story and I tell them how I got out, most people don't believe that I've been through what I've been through until they start looking at the newspapers and started until they start looking at the court documents, and they till they start looking at other people who vouch for me and say you know what I've done. Then they look and then they say, oh my God, like you've been through a lot. But I know I know who represents me. I know who cares for me, and I know. And through this time of like isolation, I know who I am. And once I know who I was, it gave me purpose to walk inside and into my destiny. So yeah, that is about it. And when people get up out of your life or they try to turn on you and you feel like, what is going on? Like, I can't understand it. Don't try to fix it. Just pray about it and just let them go. And sometimes some of those pains that you get from your friends, like I said, are blessings in disguise. Take Jacob for instance. He was one of those people. The angel wasn't trying to hurt him or anything, but he knew that he had a gift. Now, even though the angel gave him a limp, he came out with the blessing because that's what he wanted. So that is about all. I just wanted to talk about that because I had this dream and the dream it replicated and I was like, what the heck was this? When I got up and I was like, let me go read the Bible. Let me go find out what was this on this mountain. And then when I started seeing it, I was like, okay, okay. Now it's giving me, you know, um, revelation. And also it showed me a lot about how I'm supposed to act, how God is bringing me into this arena that He distinctively, divinely gave to me to do, you know, without all the extra stuff that I thought that I was gonna have to have, like the degrees and the people, and because I didn't, God gave me the people. God gave me the people, through out of my helplessness, out of my lack, He gave me the abundance. Like stuff fell into my lap, So yeah, I gotta go to work. And for the person who inboxed me, yes, I have a huge forehead, but I do have hair. I actually have a good amount of hair. Um, even though I don't even know why that's a big deal, but I don't have cancer. I just have a huge head. I have a huge face. That's what God created me to be. I've always had that. I always had a big nose. I always had a big forehead. Um, so yeah, hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. Thank you so much for tuning in.